Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. with your host, Harun.
For a list of all our sponsors, please visit ramadanfm.com.
Ramadan, 87.9 FM.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Today's show is on the topic which is very, very close to our hearts. Something that we experience in our lifetime. Something that we experience in our lifetime and something that is immensely challenging. It is on the topic of losing a loved one. In this show, I'll be talking to Sister Sofia, who will inform us about what is available for us in terms of support when we lose a loved one. Indeed, losing a loved one, losing one's father, mother, husband, wife, son, daughter, brother, sister, or any other family members or close friend is very challenging. This loss can completely devastate a person and makes the entire world around him seem dark and gloomy. Just as in every situation of life, even in this situation, our beautiful religion gives us lots of advice, ample solace, comfort, relief, and direction to make it easy for us to manage this painful loss and sail through this time. And also, there is support available as well, which is there for us to know and for us to take help from. And based on this, dear brothers and sisters, I'm much grateful to Sister Sofia from Muslims Bereavement Support Services to approach us at Radio FM primarily out of her goodness that we should know about the support system that is there at the time, which is very, very challenging for us. Sister, I would just like to tell you briefly about Sister Sofia, that she's from Muslim Bereavement and Support Service. This organization is called the Muslim Bereavement and Support Service, and it provides a befriending service to sisters who have lost a loved one. It's a free, confidential Islamic service, and they have helped over 400 sisters nationally and internationally to help deal with their grief. I welcome Sister Sofia on this show, and she's going to speak to us and tell us about her organization and what kind of support is available for us. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sofia.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much for having me on your show today.
That's my pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. As I said, it is something that we all experience in our lifetime. And when I heard about your organization and the support that you provide, I was quite pleased that I was chosen for this interview, for being able to take this interview today. So, Sister Sofia, thank you once again. I would like to ask a few questions about your organization and about what you do. So, the first thing is that I would like to know is if you can tell us about the Muslim Bereavement Service, the organization.
Sure. So the Muslim Bereavement and Support Service is a registered charity that was set up in 2012. And first of all, when we set it up, we were supporting sisters that had a miscarriage or a stillbirth or had lost a child. So that's all we were supporting, only those sisters. But then as time went on, we thought, well, why not support any sister that had any type of bereavement? So then we started supporting sisters that had lost a family member, a friend, a relative, basically any loss that she's had from bereavement, we would be supporting her. And that's what we're doing to date now. It's a free service, so there's absolutely no charge for this at all. And it's a confidential service as well. So, anybody that comes to us can be rest assured that any conversations that have with us will be kept private with your befriender. and we've got over 30 volunteers that have been especially trained in dealing with bereavement from an Islamic point of view.
Okay. Brilliant, Sister Sophia. That's really amazing. What you does. Is there a reason or a mission behind when it started, or was there some sort of a vision, or who started this? If you can tell a little bit.
Well, initially, we came to realize that there was a real need for this because we are part of the Gardens of Peace Cemetery in London, in Hainault, and they were burying, babies and, fetuses, and they were, coming across the mothers that had just buried their child, and they realized that, look, this is so tragic, they're not getting any support and that they need. So they're the ones that really initially raised this concern. And then we decided to set up the organization in 2012. And, alhamdulillah, it's helped, as you mentioned, over 400 sisters. In fact, I would even say over 500 sisters up and down the country and even abroad. I mean, just now we just had a sister contacting us from New Delhi and asking if we can support her because she's lost 4 close family members to COVID.
Oh,
yeah. And so these are the sorts of, sisters that we're helping that have gone through traumatic loss. Yeah,
I think what we have witnessed since this pandemic, it's just devastating. So many deaths that we have seen and experienced in our families and friends, and keeping that in view, the work and the support that you are providing, the work that you do, it's really rewarding.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It is really personally satisfying, and as I mentioned, we're all volunteers. Not a single person of the Muslim Bereavement Support Service is paid, because we all want to do this. We all want to do this for our own akhirah and help sisters. And a lot of our volunteers have had a personal loss of their own, so they can really relate to how shocking and sad a death can be. So they've had that personal experience. So they're really enthusiastic, really empathetic, and we're blessed to have such dedicated volunteers that are there to provide that support in a range of languages. I would like to add, some of our volunteers speak Urdu, Punjabi, Gujarati, Bangla, Sylheti, French, Arabic. So we've got a real mixture of languages that we do speak, because we want to provide support in the mother tongue or the language that sister is comfortable in.
Absolutely. This is so important, actually, because it, when you have volunteers working for you who are able to speak different languages, then you can reach out to more people and obviously provide the right support that they need. So that's really, really great. I would like to ask another question is about where exactly are you based? Are you in London or?
Yes, we're based in London. We have 30 or so volunteers in London. We also have an office in Glasgow, but it really doesn't matter where we are based, because we support up and down the country, anywhere in the UK and even abroad. In the past, we've supported sisters in Dubai, New York, Gambia, Egypt. So we support because our service is so unique, because we support sisters that are grieving from an Islamic point of view, and there's not many organizations that do that. You can go to the NHS, for example, and get bereavement support, but it's not going to have that Islamic angle. And so sisters do try out. They do try at the NHS and other organisations, and then they come to us because they just can't get that fulfilment. They can't get that closure. They can't get that peace that they do when they turn to Islam for their comfort.
For the comfort, no, absolutely. I can completely understand this, because having lost a loved one, says we all experience this pain in our life. This is something where I found myself that there is a hollow there, and there's a vacuum there where you need a support at that time, and sometimes it's not available. And it's really amazing that when I actually found out that you would like to, come on the radio and tell us about your services, I was quite interested actually to interview this myself and speak to you. And I feel really good that for the listeners who are listening right now, that they can take advantage of this service. Whoever is
Absolutely. We want.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We want people to take advantage of the service. The service is there. If you are going through a loss, you've gone through a loss, and you are going through that sadness and despair and anxiety, whatever emotions, because different people experience different emotions when they lose a loved one.
Yes.
So, for example, a mother who's had a miscarriage may feel really saddened by the miscarriage, compared to somebody who's lost their 89-year-old mother. She might not feel as saddened because, people go through a range of emotions. We've had sisters coming to us saying that they feel guilty. One particular sister that comes to mind was feeling guilty because she felt that she didn't keep her house clean enough, and as a result she had a miscarriage. So people experience lots of different emotions. So they come to us, they offload, and we're trained. We've got the coping. We try to do coping mechanisms to help them overcome their grief.
Absolutely.
So I love that. It does work. It does really work to talk to somebody outside of the family, because sometimes family members are grieving as well. So you don't want to talk to them because they are grieving, and so so you're trying to protect them in a sense. So, for example, if you've got a young couple and they've had a miscarriage, the husband might try to be the strong one, and the wife, even though she's really struggling, she might not turn to the husband because it's going to be too painful for him. And so it's so that's why people do come to us for support. We've had families coming to us as well where sadly they've lost a child to suicide, and they've come to us for a family support session where they've brought the siblings, and the mother and the father have come along, and the siblings of the child that they sadly lost. So we run group family sessions as well sometimes, because that's the best support for that particular family.
Yes, mashallah. That is an amazing job, and definitely very, very rewarding in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Inshallah.
So regarding your organization, I just wanted to ask you, does it make it different from other bereavement organizations? As you mentioned already about NHS and the cultural context that we have and the language support that you provide, and obviously the biggest one is the religion one. So I just wanted you to tell us briefly about how it stands out from other organizations.
So as you mentioned, the religious aspect of the MBSS is quite unique. So we would talk to sisters, guide them, console them using Quran, Hadith, and Sunnah to help them to come to some sort of solace. Secondly, we are not a 9-to-5 organization. So quite often we get sisters coming to us that are working, or they have young children and they want support once they've put the children to sleep, and they'll want to speak to their befriender at say 8-9 p.m. So we will accommodate that. So we're not a 9-to-5 organization. We run 7 days a week. We also allow sisters to have more than 6 sessions. So again, with the NHS, for example, if you are getting support from the NHS, you will be limited to 6 sessions, as an average case. And after 6 sessions, your time's up and that's it. They're not going to maybe give you any more support, but we will carry on supporting you as long as you need the support. So, so that's why we are quite different as well. Additionally, you will be supported. You will be speaking to the same sister every time. So she becomes like your personal befriender, and she stays with you throughout your journey with us. So it's not like you're picking up the phone, you're speaking to one particular sister one time, and then the next time you'll be speaking to somebody else, and then you have to explain your whole story again.
Yes.
Same person, and you build up a relationship with them as well. By
Yes.
doing that. So you become more open with them, you become more relaxed with them. So
Yes.
we're different from that point of view as well.
Yes, absolutely. There are so many factors that you highlighted about how you stand out, and especially the timings and the consistency of speaking to someone, and then the help is available, when you need it. So that's mashallah, really, really great, Sister Sophia. And, moving on, I wanted to also ask from you that is there a particular community that uses the services more?
I would say the Pakistani, Bangladeshi community uses the service more.
Okay.
But we don't really turn anyone away. We've supported people of no religion, of the Christian religion, of
Okay.
Sikh the Sikh faith as well. So even though we are called the Muslim Bereavement Support Service, if we are requested to support somebody who's not Muslim, we will support them as well, inshallah. And so, for example, there's a Sikh lady we supported. She was referred to us by a secular bereavement organisation. They felt that they couldn't carry on supporting her. So they came to us and said, look, are you able to support this lady? And we said, yes, that's fine, because we speak Punjabi.
Okay.
So that worked out really well. And she was
Yeah.
standing off her son. When the Grenfell disaster happened, we were there supporting anyone that needed support and comforting them as well at that time.
Yeah.
We also go out to the local hospitals in London,
Okay.
local to where we are based, our London office, and we go and visit the sick. We go and talk to them and console them and comfort them, etc. And again, that can be anybody. Just today, I was in the hospital. We help out as hospital chaplains, and I was speaking to a Jewish lady, and just having a chat with her, and just talking about her life and all of this, and so we will support anybody that needs our support. I mean, for example, we speak Gujarati. You have Hindus
Okay.
speaking Gujarati,
Yes.
So we are approached by somebody who's of the Hindu faith, but once supporting Gujarati, we will not say no to them, inshallah. So.
Yes, mashallah, that's amazing. So it's not all about just the religious, context. It's about, the main purpose is to support people when they need it, and obviously the language support is there, which is really brilliant.
Thank you.
Because, yes, yeah.
I would say, but the primary people that we do support are Muslims.
Muslims, yes.
The majority are, I would say 99%, no, 99.9% are Muslims.
Oh, Muslims, okay.
But, if somebody does need support, that's not Muslim, we will support them.
Exactly.
I mean, in the past, we've supported a Christian lady. We've also supported a lady who was married to a Muslim,
Right.
and she was not Muslim herself. I think she was of no faith, and again, we supported her as well.
Okay, mashallah. That's great. There's one question on my mind. I don't know if it's really relevant to what we are discussing about the organization, but you mentioned that the volunteers are trained, and obviously you are there, and a specific person speaks to a particular case, so that you don't have to repetitively explain or go into the details of that person's loss. Do you ever find this emotionally draining while you're providing support, or the training is such that you're able to cope with it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, alhamdulillah, we provide some really good, strong training to our volunteers, and it's ongoing training. We top it up as well, because we want to look after our volunteers. It's a very difficult job that they are doing. So we do provide, and we do provide training quite regularly. We meet in a normal situation, we normally meet every 8 weeks or so. We get together. We offload to each other, obviously bearing in mind the confidentiality. And the volunteers know that we are always there. The committee members are always there to turn to if they have a particularly difficult case, or if a particular case has become too difficult for them. So that support.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you have to be a certain type of person as well yourself.
Yes.
You have to be quite strong to
Yes.
to carry
To be
somebody
able to.
who's gone through
Yes.
a bereavement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a question, and it is from one of our listeners, and it is, do you also support Revert sisters? If you would like to answer that.
Yes, absolutely. Quite often what we do find, unfortunately, in our community is that a sister comes into Islam, and sometimes, unfortunately, she doesn't have the support of her family, and because she's become Muslim. And unfortunately, if she loses a loved one, she might find herself totally alone. She hasn't got support of her own family, and she's come into Islam, and she hasn't got any support network around her from the Muslim community either. So absolutely, it would be an honor for us to be able to support a sister that really needs that support, like some of the Revert sisters do.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I hope the dear listener must have heard the answer to the question. So just looking at the time, we have a few minutes left, so I'll just touch upon some of the questions that I would like to ask you. One of the things I wanted to know was, you mentioned that the support is there for sisters. Is there any support for brothers as well?
Unfortunately, we don't support brothers because all our volunteers are females, so it's not practical for us to be supporting males because as I said, you end up building up quite a good strong relationship with your the sister that you're supporting. So it wouldn't be practical for us to be speaking maybe weekly to a brother. But any brother that needs support, please get in touch. We will refer you on to an imam or a few different imams that we recommend that are really good at supporting bereaved brothers as well.
Okay, thank you. That's really great. In terms of if somebody wants to get in touch with you, if they wish to use your service or would like to donate or want any further information or maybe would like to volunteer, so what's the best way of doing that?
Well, they can email us. The email address is info@mbss.org.uk.
Okay.
Or we have a website as well. So the website address is www.mbss.org.uk.
Okay.
Or you can call us. The office number is 0203 468 7333. And we're on Facebook, Twitter, social media as well. So any of those means to get in touch with us.
That's brilliant, sister. That's brilliant. Excellent. Just maybe possibly we can squeeze one more question, and that is, without breaching confidentiality, can you tell us about maybe an actual example of some of the support that you have provided? Possibly one example would do.
Okay. So one of the sisters that we supported sadly lost a 45-year-old husband to cardiac arrest. Young, fit, healthy guy. Suddenly passed away, unfortunately, and she faced, a situation where she had to move out of her home because she couldn't do the school run. Her husband used to do that, so she had to move. She moved in with the in-laws, and unfortunately, things weren't really working out very well there. There were lots of in-laws issues. So the other problem was that she didn't know about any of the finances. Didn't know if there was a will. Didn't know if there was a bank account, didn't know, anything at all. So, now, it's really important for us to let our loved ones know where everything is. And that's why in Islam, it's, we're told to update our will. And, it's really important that you do disclose to somebody that you trust, your personal situation. Because this sister, she put her grief on hold. because she had to sort out all the finances. She didn't know what's what, so she wasn't able to grieve. So she had to sort out, the will, the bank account. She had to find out if there was any money, and she had to move out of her home, moving with the in-laws. The children had to, face all of these changes, apart from the biggest change, which was not having their father. So, so really, I would say to your listeners, please, do let somebody know what you have in place. Any details, or maybe just write them down and let somebody know that upon your death, this is where they need to go to, and all that information that you have about yourself, like your bank account details, etc., they're all there. Because one of the worst things is that losing a loved one and then not knowing anything about the bills, the mortgages, anything like that. It was really hard for that particular sister. But alhamdulillah, she's sort of come through that now. But now she's trying to deal with the grief now of losing her husband.
Yes, absolutely. SubhanAllah, such a difficult situation.
Very, 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 very difficult. And it was really sad seeing her having to go through the unnecessary. It was unnecessary, because if everything was already laid out, or she knew what's what, then she wouldn't have had to unfortunately go through that. But we all forget, don't we? Or we don't want to think about our death. We are insan, and we forget, and we don't want to remember death, and we don't want to think about these things. And that's why it's really important to have all of this written down. I've told my children where everything is and what's what, and I've told them where my will is, and I've told them where they need to go to find out everything that's bank accounts, etc. I've got a folder already prepared, and I said, right, that's the folder you need to open up. When I'm gone, and everything is there. You don't need to worry about looking anywhere else. Just look in this folder. It's all there. It's all up to date.
Yes. Incredibly important, Sister Sofia, because I think often it's the case that, the cultural kind of notions people have in the mind that, we don't want to talk about death, but if you look at the Islamic perspective, it actually tells us that we should remember our death more often.
Yeah, but I think remembering by doing that, you try to become a better person, because death could be at any moment. So if you remember death, you think, right, let me live my life, in the best way I can with ihsan, and let me try to do right by everyone that has rights over me. And so by remembering death, it's a good eye opener.
Yes, absolutely. You are spot on what you said, that you start you start preparing, when you mention something and you realize how realistic it is. I think it is the most certain thing that we all know that death is upon us, but yet we try and avoid this conversation, when it comes to death.
You're very, very, very true.
And I think there are some sorry.
I was just going to say, you're very right. People don't want to talk about death.
People don't want to talk about death, yes. And there's another thing that we see is there are lots of cultural notions and beliefs about grieving as well, that people want to cry and they want to shed tears. But then, there are cultural beliefs where, people, try and prevent people from crying. And I think this is not correct. And I'm sure
absolutely. Even the Prophet, peace be upon him, he would cry. He would shed tears. So it's the wailing that we're not allowed to do, and we tell this to our sisters that come to us for support, that you are allowed to cry. It's a mercy from Allah. Allah knows that we are humans, we are insan, and so crying and remembering and being sad is, these are normal human emotions. So we will experience these, and we are allowed to do that. And so you're right, there are a lot of cultural practices that take place which are not Islamic.
Yes,
that's right.
Because our religion is so beautiful and is so complete that, in every aspect of our lives, whether we are facing whatever situation we are in, and if we are talking about losing a loved one, it is so precise and comprehensive. And we have the example of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. On various occasions, he lost his loved one, especially the death of his beloved son Ibrahim. who was born just, before Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's own death.
Yes.
And
Yes, and he cried.
and he cried. Yes.
he cried.
Yeah. He
And
shed tears.
yes, and and one of the Sahaba said, even you, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, even you cry.
Yes.
And he said, yes, these are a mercy from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala.
Yes.
So this is natural. We are going to cry. And people saying to us, don't cry. It's not correct. So
Yes.
I help out with doing the ghusls as well sometimes, and I see sisters asking other sisters that are present at the ghusl, no, don't cry, don't be quiet. It's going to hurt it's going to hurt the deceased. And I said,
Yes.
no, let her cry. She's allowed to cry. She's
Yes.
she's just it's a normal human thing. So
Thing. Yes, and it's very important for that person to let the grief out. Otherwise, it can cause other problems. I wish we could spend more time, Sister Sofia, but I'm sorry we are now at the end of the show. I really want to thank you with the bottom of my heart to
thank you.
show today. And
Thank you very much for having me on the show. I would just like to say to your listeners, please try the service. If it's not right for you, you don't have
Yes.
to use the service. You can try it once. It's it's a very simple process. You just call us, email us, go to our website, and get in touch with us. And within 4 days, your support could start. You don't have to fill out any paperwork. It's just really quick and easy and straightforward. And if it's not right for you, just tell your befriender, look, I don't want any support. It's not the right time for me. You can always come back to us. We've had sisters that had a bereavement like years and years ago, and they still haven't got to terms with it. They've come to us now for support. So, just bear that in mind, and, get the support. Think about your loved one. What would your loved one that you have sadly lost, what would they want from you? Would they not want you to carry on with life? Would they not want you to make the most of the remainder of your life? Would they want you to stand still in your life?
This Adhan is sponsored by Muslim Global Relief.
Where there is extreme poverty, there are always orphaned and abandoned children. Every 2.2 seconds, a child loses a parent somewhere in the world. There are over 200 million orphaned children worldwide. Muslim Global Relief provides education to help orphan children develop the skills they need, making positive changes in their life and breaking them free from poverty. Awarded the UK's Best Muslim Charity of the Year. Make a 100% zakat donation. Visit muslimglobalrelief.org.
Allahu Akbar.